Yeah, hi guys. This is Swatantra Datre from Civil Study. I'm a mentor with Civil Study, working as a mentor there. And see, today's session, before I'll be putting you the agenda of the session today. We'll start with brief introductions, then few questions that I would ask you, our guest, Prabhat. And after it, we'll be opening this session for the Q&A. The essential theme of this session is how to choose an optional because it is one of the most important selection if we talk about the preparation of UPSC because optional alone carries around 500 marks and it is easier than other subjects to score in optionals. Out of 500 people score actually 340. I mean, there are very few people like it, but they score. So that's why selection of an option is an important decision. So the essential doubt that we'll be taking up in this session is about how to choose an option. Other than that, there are doubts, but the priority should be the question should be on and based on optional. After that, we'll be taking other questions as well. But this will follow the core agenda after the core agenda. So yes, my name is Swatantra Natre. I've been a mentor with Civil's daily team, and I've given my 6 attempts. Out of this, I was able to written 5 mains and given 2 interviews. This is brief about me. And today, the guest that we are here for, that like we all gathered ourselves to hear it. He is Prabhat Singh. He is ranked 377 for the year 2019. Currently, he is a probation officer under IRPS, and he is born in Kanpur, one of my favorite cities. I don't know why, but I've been there multiple times. And he's graduated, did his schooling there from Gujarat, and he's been a science graduate. After it, he has given 5 attempts and total now so far, currently being an IRPS. So this is brief about Prabhat, and we'll be knowing more about him as we move forward with this session. So I'll welcome Prabhat.
Hi,
Hi,
Sudhindra.
Prabhat. Welcome.
Thank you, Sudhindra. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I hope you are doing fine. Yeah. So, Prabhat, I'll not waste much of the time. That question, that I keep asking to the people who made it to, on the other side of the list. I mean,
Yeah.
there is a saying that, the people, the famous saying that, that one name on a paper cannot change one's destiny. But I believe there is a list which comes every year in India which changes
Yeah.
destiny, at least
Yes.
to few number of people. So, what was driving force? What I mean, you have taken, you have given so much of, you have put so much hard work. You have, been through ups and downs of this process. So, what was the driving force?
Driving force, basically, initially when you start the journey, everyone wants to get into IAS, IPS, and wants the name in the list. But if you don't have a continuous inspiration in your life, I think so, that slows you down at time. If you fail, face failures, probably you'll see many people who are not accustomed to failures. They've cleared IIT, they've cleared IM, they've cleared, AIMS, everything. But somehow the name does not come in the prelims list as well. For the first time in your life, when you face a failure, that is a major setback. So to overcome these things, you need inspiration. And
Yes,
for me, my inspiration was basically something which came from my family since childhood. We were
yes,
always told that you have to be a self-made person and to bring to work for the country. So Kanpur mein aap jante hain, in UP it is either army or civil services. When you're
yes,
born, a child is born, either he's an army person or he is a civil servant. So yes, I was known to the culture of civil services, and inspiration was always there to work and to get into the services. However, during this journey, I came to Gujarat. I worked in corporate sector for some years, but then somehow it was never fulfilling. It was never. I was never content because I never wanted to do this. So
yes,
the inspiration to work and to get into government services and to work in a dimension which corporate sector cannot give you. You cannot get that dynamism in corporate sector at any cost, right? Because today you're working in, for example, say health sector. Tomorrow you'll be working in education. So you bring reforms in different sectors.
yes,
So utilizing your potential to the best. That was the second thing. Apart from continuous inspiration through parents, society. And lastly, the job security and everything, obviously, for which everyone is attached to this. So it was a sense of security along with good responsibility in the good position
Yes.
that you were
Yes.
expecting.
Yes, I like the honesty that you eventually came to the real point is the
Right,
security of job, and which is essential. I mean, one need to be honest when, especially honest to ourselves when we are in this preparation of UPSC. So my
yeah,
second question is, you have given again long years. I mean,
yeah,
and I feel because I've been also in that journey, that four by
yeah,
six room in Delhi, giving hours to studies, and that especially someone who qualified in their last attempts, third, fourth,
yeah.
fifth, sixth attempts, they bound to they are not just bound to face failures, but other than this, issues from society, depressions, all those hardships that so-called not much talked about. So how do you tackle those things?
It's a very interesting thing which you mentioned, Ki, that when the attempts increase, your friends and fellow mates decrease, and your well wishers also decrease, and the amount, because people who have faith in you will start decreasing by number of attempts. It goes on. In first attempt, your every friend of you
Yes,
will be, "Arey, tum IAS banoge." Second attempt, some will reduce. Eventually, what you need to make sure is when you start your journey, you have. For me, it was three people in confidence which I always wanted to have throughout my journey. The first being obviously your
yes,
parents, whom you believe
yes,
that, whom you have told, you have sold the idea that you want to be a civil servant, and they are, uh, vouching on it, and they are putting all their resources, all their heart into it. So you need to make sure that they don't lose confidence in you. For that, I'll tell you what we can do gradually. And secondly is your teacher. Secondly are the teachers and the mentors with whom you start this journey. You'll find some teachers or mentors somewhere. You'll find some guru somewhere. All right. So they also need to have continuous belief in yourself, in you, because at a point when you are misguided, they will be the only person who will be guiding you to come back to the track. Right. If you're misguided somewhere, you're not able to manage yourself. So your parents, they are not known to the field of UPSC, right? They don't know what to do and how to do. They have not been to the cycle. But a teacher of the same field, he will be the good person. He will be a
yes,
good person to guide you back into that track, give you that motivation. So for that, he
yes,
needs to have belief in you. For example, if you are disoriented, he won't have a belief in you, right? So he won't guide you much. He won't take interest in you. So I have maintained that. I had a good mentor in Avadoja sir. I had a good mentor in my law optional Karamjeet sir. Then thirdly, the third section which you have is your core set of friends. That can be UPSC friends, that can be non-UPSC friends, and who have been with you
yes,
in the starting of the journey. They also keep working as continuous motivators. Inspiration is a long time thing, but motivation is what you need periodically, right? Kabhi,
yes,
at times you won't feel like studying at all. But who will boost you? These are these friends. Your UPSC friends will help you to lessen your time wastage, and non-UPSC friends
yes,
will help you to chill out when you are too much
yes,
stressed in the preparation. So both are essential. So you need to have a balance. But however, they also need to have faith in you that you are doing your part. You are putting in your 100%. So all
yes,
these three people will only be with you, and you need to maintain just only these small group: parents, one or two mentors, and three or four friends who believe in you. And for that, you need to put your 100%. And if these people are with you and you're doing your 100% and they can see that, then the results, I don't think so
yes,
it matters anymore. If your name is in the list or not in the list, they know that you have given your 100% and they'll always be with you. So you are always sure that yes, I can do it. And for me, that worked. My parents, my
yes,
brother, and my friends, they were always after me that you are putting so much effort. There cannot be a day that your name will not be in a list. So you just wait
yes,
for the right thing, and your name will be in the list. And when I was there, so they were less shocked. They were less surprised than me. They were like, "हाँ, ये तो होना ही था. इतनी मेहनत करी तो you are supposed to be there."
yes.
So this is the
So
thing.
in your answer, you mentioned about teachers.
Yes.
There's one good teacher of mine who used to say कि आप हनुमान तो बन सकते हैं, लेकिन हनुमान को बनने के लिए आपके पास एक जामवंत होना चाहिए. वो keep pushing you कि हाँ तुम कर सकते
Yes. Yes.
So yes,
Definitely.
yes. So my last question before we open this session to Q&A to you is, uh, what did you did differently? What did you do differently in your last attempt? I mean, how mentorship helped? Was there no? If you can tell in brief manner what was different before your earlier?
Uh, First and most important thing I like to tell all the students who are here right now is in the last attempt, the major thing which I did not leave anything to fate or destiny. I made sure that I'm not leaving anything to fate or destiny in the last attempt. Because I'm saying last attempt because it was my last attempt. Okay.
Yes, sir.
It was fifth attempt because you need to give yourself a deadline, right? You cannot keep
Yes,
putting add-ons every time. So in my fifth attempt, I'll tell you things, 3 to 4 things which I observed in my previous attempts, and I rectified them, and that was a major thing which I did. So usually you'll see people who have cleared in first or second attempt, they have a different experience. My experience will be completely different because I've taken 5 attempts and I've taken 10 years, on and off from civils and off civils. So basically, the thing which I did different in the last attempt was, firstly, I had a plan. Unlike my 4 attempts which I made, uh, what we do is we generally study 4 months for mains, right? Uh, Probably if you start studying July, August, September, October, you study for mains, right?
yes,
Then you switch to optional for couple of months. Then you switch to prelims, right?
yes,
But uh, how do you relate prelims and mains? There is no strategy initially when you are not aware.
yes,
So in my last attempt, when I was, I told the role of a guru, my law optional sir, it's his name, Karamjeet sir. So he told me that, beta, you need to study in, supplementary form. You cannot differentiate prelims and mains initially. Initially, you'll have to study mains and you have to study prelims with a plan, right?
yes,
So in the last attempt, I made a plan. A thorough plan was there. For example, I knew that by August end, by September end, I will finish my GS. By December, January, February, I will finish my optional. And by Feb, I will start taking tests. And before prelims, I'll be ready. So there was a
yes,
dedicated plan which I had. So I think so. Planning was the most important thing which was missing in the earlier 4 attempts. A meticulous planning, basically, not a
yes,
haphazard, just overall, nothing like that. A good scrutinized planning based on your own potential, your self-realization, no over-realistic planning कि एक दिन में 4 चैप्टर कर लेंगे या 4 एनसीईआरटी पढ़ लेंगे, ऐसा कुछ नहीं, बहुत realistic. Second thing was, apart from planning, in the second attempt, I made deadlines a little ahead. I changed the deadlines. I changed the UPSC deadlines. For example, the exam I remember was on 2nd June. So for me, the exam was on 10th May.
okay,
So I changed my deadlines. And this I did was because earlier in 4 attempts, I blamed my failures to destiny. For example, in my first attempt, my mom had a heart attack, bypass surgery just 15 days before the exam.
oh,
So I was there. So I always blamed, oh, I could not revise in the last 15 days. But however, I was preparing for 2 years. So even if I
yes,
was there for 1 week, so if you evaluate 730 days versus 1 week, so obviously there's no comparison, right? And
yes,
the 2017 attempt, I got a little sick, right, 3 days before the exam, some due to the weather change and everything. Again, I blamed it. Oh, I was weak, so I could not perform well. I could not concentrate. So uh, these things were hampering my mental balance, and I was not evaluating myself. I always thought that I was prepared, and just due to situations I could not clear. Rather, it was I was underprepared, and the situations are like situations, they will happen every time. There is no guarantee that if I skip the exam, many of the aspirants right now will be thinking that abhi ek mahina bacha hai, syllabus bacha hai, should I skip or should I take it? So I'll
yes,
just tell you that the situations will change every year. Maybe this year it is the best. Tomorrow, next year it might be COVID. Next year it might be something else. So it will come. So there's no surety that next year everything will work in your favor. There's no guarantee for that. So for that, I kept a buffer of 20-25 days, so that in case anything worse happens, I have a 20 days buffer with me. This I came for
Yes.
prelims. This I kept for mains. And trust me, on 10th May, I was very much ready. It got 3 days delayed. I still remember the dates. It was 14th May. And on 14th May, I was so ready that I used to get up at 7:38 instead of 6. I used to go to the library, take a mock test, take a CSAT test, do some evaluation, do some random revision, come back home and sleep at 9, 10. I did not stress my body for the exams. I made a schedule for which my body has to be accustomed on the day of exam. And
Yes.
third thing which I did differently in the last attempt was I took serious advice from Ajay. You know Ajay Verma from Civil Service.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And, correct.
He, guys,
Yeah.
for those who don't know, as I said, he's actually the head of Mentors for the
So
civil service.
Ajay has been my mentor in Delhi's informal mentor because he was my first neighbor when I came to
Yeah.
Delhi in 2011. So he was staying just right above me, and we go back to 2011. So he has been mentoring me since then. That ye aise karo, paper aise karo, and I don't think so they can be a better mentor than him for prelims and mains, anything. So he guided me that how to solve prelims, how to take test papers. So in the last 4 attempts, I used to just solve papers and see the scores, and that's it. Yaar, itna knowledge hai, itna hai. I never analyzed. So he told me the concept of solving papers for different ways. There can be accuracy method, then there can be randomness method. So he told me how to go about the test. So I choose my accuracy and I practiced according to that. And in the last 20 days, I made sure that I overcome the fear of taking test. And I custom my body to sit for 2 hours in the preliminary examination. So these three things majorly I think so helped me. One is not leaving anything to destiny, having a proper plan. Second is, uh, you know, uh, keeping a buffer.
Dedicated deadlines.
Yeah, and keeping a buffer of 20-25 days before prelims, and if not possible, at least 5 days before, and preparing yours. And lastly, preparing your mental state rather than a mental plus physical state for the exam rather than just your knowledge. Because in UPSC, it's no more the test of knowledge. It's more of a mental challenge now because the questions coming over there are totally different. So these things I think so helped me in the last.
Yes, Prabhat, and thank you for answering my questions. I think we take 20 minutes. I mean, it is more than the time we have scheduled. But anyways, I'm opening this session now Q&A. Before opening up the session for the Q&A, guys, I will be putting in brief guidelines. See, essentially, the major topic that we are going to handle today is how to choose an option. So we will be taking those questions related to the option first. After that, if you have any specific questions related to the mains, we will taking up those questions in just later after we address all the questions related to the options. And in the end, those of you still want to ask few questions, and due to the paucity of time, maybe all of your questions could not be addressed by Prabhat or me if anything comes up. So you just write your question in chat box. Our team or me myself will address your questions. I hope you are clear. So just raise your hands for the questions, and we'll opening up the session for the Q&A. Over to you guys.
Yes, Gauri. Hi.
Yes, but you are audible. Please ask the question.
Hi, sir. Namaste, sir. Namaste.
Namaste, Gauri.
So, what are the strategies for prelims?
Strategy for prelims.
Yeah.
Sugandhi, I think so. I'll take this question right now. But initially, I thought so. Should I take it right now or just in the end?
Yes, we can address this. We can address this first question. But before that, I just want to make all of you clear. This is the session related to how to choose option, especially for the 2023 students. But yeah, Prabhat, you can take up this question because I mean,
yes, all the questions are important. I was just prioritizing.
Yes.
Okay, Gauri, I want to be more specific. I want you to be more specific. Are you asking for 2022 attempt prelims approach, or you are asking for 2023 prelims approach?
23, because I'm a professional.
Okay. Gauri, it's great. You are working and you're preparing, first of all.
Yes,
but see, prelims. Today, I think so. Every one of us will agree that there's no what you say book that can claim that if you read me through, you'll clear prelims, right? So there's no syllabus. There are no number of books that anyone can claim that if you read these number of books, you'll definitely clear prelims. Okay, but I know people who have done almost who have read everything, and still are not making it to the list in the prelims. Prelims needs more mental, preparedness. Okay. So, for example, I'll tell you, along with your work, it is very definitely possible if you have the proper, if you have a proper plan how to take this examination, right? So, for example, if you have a working professional, right? So you need to take some test. Now, rather other unlike other students who are studying full time, you have to have a planner, right? In which you have to combine your mains and prelims mock test on the weekends, right? So you won't have a time to switch your brain right immediately in a week gap during examination period, right? So you have to be in that phase for prelims slowly. You have to come in that phase slowly and gradually. Because, for example, I was studying full time, so I had that option that in February I'll close it. In March, 1 week I'll change my mindset from mains to prelims, and by March 10th I'll be in prelims mode. But you don't have that privilege. So what you can do is you can start solving test papers some 5-6 months before, 3-4 months before than other people, right? Instead of March, you can start from October, November, because you don't have that much time. You'll be taking tests only on weekends. Apart from that, for prelims, your factual database has to be upgraded rather along with mains, right? But then that has to be more specific. So taking test, and making short notes for prelims and mains both, that will come in handy during your examination period. That will benefit you even in prelims and mains both. So I would suggest that you take small targets, weekly targets and monthly targets both, and you can definitely discuss with your mentor, and you can have a plan wherein you can decide which subjects you take. Work on your strengths more, because you're a working professional. You need to work very smartly. You cannot go and read everything, So decide your strengths. Try to analyze the paper, and try to cut off the cover the cutoffs. Right? Don't go after 100 questions. Smartly work with 80-90 questions, and have a plan. Have a detailed analysis. What are your strengths? And the main suggestion, which as I said, you need to start. You need to have a head start other than other students. So don't be delayed like I'll start in Feb or January. You need to come in that frame of mind initially, around November, December.
Yes, I hope Gauri, your question has been answered. So I'll
Yes,
take
sir.
the next question. Thank you, Gauri, and I'll take the next question. Kanesh, please unmute your mic and ask the question.
Hello, sir.
Kanish, you can switch on your camera also if you want. It's good to see and talk. If it's okay.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Kanish.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
सर मैं बेसिकली सर ये डाउट पूछना चाह रहा था कि सर 1 ईयर की टाइमलाइन के हिसाब से सर ऑप्शनल की अपनी स्ट्रेटेजी कैसे होनी चाहिए, यानी सर उसको शुरू के मंथ्स में अपन टैकल करें या फिर उसको एक बार जीएस पेपर का सिलेबस अपना कंप्लीट हो जाने के बाद उसको अपन स्टार्ट करें सर?
कनिष्क देखो, ये ना थोड़ा डिपेंड करेगा कौन सा अटेम्प्ट है, इस पे डिपेंड करेगा. तो अगेन स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन आपका, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आप जनरल पूछना चाहते हैं कि आप अपने लिए पूछना चाहते हैं?
नहीं सर, मैं अपने लिए पूछना चाह रहा हूँ, क्योंकि सर मैं एक अटेम्प्ट ऑलरेडी सर मैं दे चुका हूँ सर, और उसमें सर मेरा स्कोर 85.58 था और 92.51 जनरल की कट ऑफ थी. तो सर वो मैंने सर 7 to 8 मार्क्स से मिस कर दिया. तो सर इस बार मैं चाह रहा था सर कि थोड़ा सा ब्रेक ले लें, फुल तरीके से फिर मैं वापस से सर एक बार स्टार्ट करूं, यानी अभी इस टाइम पे हैंडल करूं या फिर उसको मैं जीएस सिलेबस एक बार कंप्लीट करने के बाद.
Yes, Ganesh. Hold on, calm down, guys. We got your question. Before you answer this question, Prabhat,
yes.
I'll be repeating this question in English because many of our listeners are from Southern India. So they may not understand. So, guys, Ganesh is asking whether when we should tackle optional, right before preparing with the GS or along with the GS or after completing GS.
So to answer, Ganesh, you're good with English, right?
Yes, sir. No
Okay.
No issue, sir.
So, to answer your question specifically, optional has to be tackled in such a way that you do it at least twice before your prelims preparation.
Okay, sir.
So, if you're starting today, right, say May
Yes, sir.
1st, so
Yes, sir.
you either can start optional before GS or you can take it after GS also. But you need to
Okay,
plan it such a way that before next February or before next January, you're doing your option at least twice. For the
okay, sir.
first reading, it has to be done thoroughly. So for the first reading, it will take at least 2 months because paper 1 will be 1 month and paper 2 will be 1 month,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And in next revision, it will be 15 days and 15 days.
Yes, sir.
However, I had a different strategy. I made 3 revision before this. In last attempt, I have given interview recently. I have done 3 revisions before prelims.
Okay.
And that I'll tell you why. Because during mains, you will not get this much time to revise your mains optional
Yes, sir.
comparatively, because that is only 90 days. So if you understand the point, after prelims, you'll go and be studying for 1 week. So hardly 80 days. So
Yes,
what
sir.
you need to do is, now since the number of days have reduced, the planning strategy has to change compared to earlier 120 days. So you need to be so versatile that you can revise your entire optional in 14 days.
Okay.
So while you're studying it for the first time itself, you make notes in such a way that those notes will help you to revise your syllabus in 1 month and also in 14 days.
Okay, sir.
Because once you finish your prelims, you'll be revising your entire option in 1 month, 15 days, paper 1, paper 2.
Yes.
And
Yes, sir.
right
Yes.
before your prelim mains exam, you will hardly get 7 to 10 days to revise your option. And
Okay, sir.
rest 4 days you will get during, after you write your GS mains, you will get 4 days to revise your optional again.
Because, sir,
Yes,
I
I
have
have.
optional as sociology, and for that I have completed my paper 1 and I have made exhaustive notes of that. But, sir,
No, see,
according to
you're
your
not getting my
recommendation,
Ganesh.
I will.
Notes are good. See, that is your personal thing. What I'm
Yes, sir.
trying to focus is on, you need to have work on timelines.
Yes, sir.
Planning again. See, it is very crucial to have planning. Okay, but
Yes, sir.
because planning will help you to have a third eye view of what you're doing and where you're going wrong.
Yes, sir.
For example, in optional only, for example, your optional is sociology, as you mentioned,
Yes, sir.
and the syllabus is not so vast compared to law. For example, for history, let's take it for history. So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
according to your capability, if you can finish your optional in 1.5 month, then why dedicate 2 months for it? Getting my point?
Right, sir.
Yes.
Then you can
Right.
utilize that 15 days somewhere else in GS and again make a second revision of option. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I would stress that you can start with optional initially, you personally, because
Okay,
you have already read it once. Finish
Yes,
it
sir.
as quick as possible. Do not waste time on it. As quick as possible. Get some mileage, get some extra days in your hand. Finish your GS mains preparation. Then again go for a second round of optional. And if you have some left days in January end, make a third revision of optional again.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay,
Thank you,
okay,
sir.
Ganesh, I hope your doubt is in your answers, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ganesh, for the question. Rajendra Kumar, please ask your doubt and unmute yourself. And if possible, camera also.
हेलो गुड आफ्टरनून सर।
Good afternoon, Rajendra.
सर मेरे को यूँ पूछना था कि सर जैसे टॉपर्स वगैरह होते हैं जो आईआईटी वगैरह से बैकग्राउंड से होते हैं, उन्होंने सर इनका ऑप्शन होता है एंथ्रो, सोशियोलॉजी, पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, जो कि उन्होंने कभी पढ़ा नहीं होता है। और बेसिकली जो जनरल स्टडीज पढ़ते हैं तो अपन हिस्ट्री, पॉलिटिकल साइंस, इकोनॉमिक्स वगैरह ये सब पढ़ने पड़ते हैं, लेकिन एंथ्रो और सोशियोलॉजी और पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में ऑप्शनल बहुत लेते हैं। तो सर ऐसा सब्जेक्ट मतलब इन सब सब्जेक्ट में ऐसी क्या चीज है कि सर सब यही चूज करते हैं? और क्या सर मैं भी एंथ्रो या सोशियोलॉजी को ऑप्शनल ऑप्ट कर सकता हूँ क्या?
नहीं राजेंद्र जी, देखिए आपको बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात बताता हूँ। आई एड्रेस द, आपको राजेंद्र जी इंग्लिश समझ में आएगी कि हिंदी में जवाब दूं?
जी सर, कोई भी लैंग्वेज चलेगी सर।
चलिए, okay, Rajendra is asking whether to go with the subjects as optional, for example, the GS subject, history, polity, or sociology, or rather go with the current trend of anthropology or PubAd, in which many aspirants are getting in. So, Rajendra, it is not about कि people are getting into anthro or PubAd, all IIT, IIMs, or all academicians. This changes. If you will know, Satyendra sir will agree, in 2014 it was geography. It was a madrasa of geography. Hai na? So out of 10,000 people, 3,000, 4,000 people were writing from geography.
Yes.
Okay. And then there was a time it was public administration, if you remember. Hello?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So Rajendra ji, it is not like
geography.
It will change. So PubAd, Anthro, everything will change. तो राजेंद्र जी ऐसा नहीं है कि Anthro is a simple option. आज से 10 साल पहले Anthro कोई लेता भी नहीं था. And still IIT, IIM people were getting into the list. है ना? However, the thing which has changed is पहले prelims और mains के बीच में 150 दिन मिलते थे. Hello?
Yes, sir.
और अब मिलते हैं 90 से 100 दिन. So they are very smart. These people are very smart that they choose an optional which they think according to their personality and they their comfort zone, they can revise in this time at least twice. ठीक है? अब for example, my optional is law, but I am good with law, so I can revise that optional twice during prelims and mains. So I am not going into anthropology, for example. तो आपने जो क्वेश्चन पूछा स्पेसिफिक कि आपको भी ऐसा ऑप्शन लेना चाहिए कि नहीं, आप अपना एप्टीट्यूड चेक कीजिए. ठीक है? क्या आपका दिमाग इतना वर्सेटाइल है कि वो कोई भी नई चीज पढ़ के उसको समझ के एनालाइज करके रिफ्लेक्ट वापस आंसर्स में कर सकता है कि नहीं कर सकता. जैसे एंथ्रो अगर आपके लिए एकदम आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स सिलेबस हो जाएगा. आपका ग्रेजुएशन किसमें है राजेंद्र जी?
सर ग्रेजुएशन मेरा चल रहा है अभी हिस्ट्री, पॉलिटिकल साइंस और सोशियोलॉजी में.
हाँ, अब नाउ यू आर अ पॉलिटिकल साइंस स्टूडेंट. ओके. एंड इफ यू कैन study anthropology, which is different, and you can analyze and reflect that in your answers. आप उस पे आंसर लिख सकते हो और आप उसको इंटरेस्टिंग बना सकते हो. Then you can go with anthropology. Otherwise, you can choose political science also as an option. Political science, people choose law as an option. अब जैसे पॉल साइंस वाले हैं वो ऑप्शन इससे रखते हैं क्योंकि उनका काफी जीएस का सेक्शन पॉल साइंस से खत्म हो जाता है. एंथ्रोपोलॉजी का ऐसा कोई सेक्शन नहीं, सोसाइटी और सोशल जस्टिस वाला पोर्शन रहता है, वो कवर होता है. लॉ वालों को पेपर 2 होता है. तो आपको अपना ऑप्शनल चूज करते समय जीएस को भी वेटेज देना है. अगर आप अपना ट्रेडिशनल ऑप्शनल चूज नहीं कर रहे हैं. ट्रेडिशनल ऑप्शनल मींस व्हाट यू हैव स्टडीड इन योर ग्रेजुएशन. इफ यू आर नॉट चूजिंग दैट ऑप्शनल एंड यू आर गोइंग विद सम अदर ऑप्शनल, then you have to take some weightage of GS syllabus as well, right? If you are taking Maithili or some literature which will not be covered in any of the GS papers, but then these papers have a good grip on essay. This will help you write good essays, right? Good ethics answers. क्योंकि वहाँ पे thinkers होते हैं, कुछ होते हैं. So there is always a overlap. So you need to see smartly in which subjects which overlaps are occurring, and is that overlap area your area of interest or not. आपको एंथ्रो में इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, बस वो क्योंकि अच्छा उसमें सिलेबस है and you are taking it, so this will not help, है ना?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right.
So guys, okay. So next, I hope Rajendra your question has been addressed, and thank you for the question. I think key takeaway from this question's answer is that you need to consider the portion of GS which can be covered by your option as well when you deciding your option. So yes, next is Nikita Dhama. Nikita, can you please unmute yourself and ask the question?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Sir, I have selected optional sociology as my optional.
Okay.
Considering the number of students taking up this subject, what unique I should do to clear the mains?
Okay. Anand, I think so. There's no uniqueness you can inculcate from someone else, or you are already unique when you write an answer. So you need to maintain that uniqueness and your some differentness in the answer. That is what UPSC is also looking for. There are ready-made answers in the market. People go read that and write that in answers, and they complete the paper as well. 300, 600 to 500 marks paper. They write good answers which are there in the market. They write it same verbatim. Still, they do not get good marks. They only get 250. And a person who has just taken some simple mocks and has written answers based on his own knowledge and application gets around 300.
Okay.
So you already get marks for your uniqueness. If you go and see the evaluation of UPSC guidelines, they have clearly written the marks are given for unique and different answer, your own originality. You don't have to inculcate anything which is very different or unique. However, the main thing which has to be kept in mind while writing any answer or approaching any way is that you address the question.
Yes.
Now you can address that question in your own way, the traditional market way, or your traditional book way, or you can make it very creative using diagrams, using paras. So I don't know in sociology there are diagrams or not, but in law there are no diagrams, for example. So I tried to be one like you, and I wanted to make my answer unique, and I drew a flow chart in my answer, and my mock tester gave me 4 out of 15 rather than giving me 10, and he said, "What have you done? There is no analysis." So Anant, while you write your answer in optional, it is very different from GS. In GS, they ask you direct questions, right? They'll ask you, these are the situations, analyze and tell us. But in optional, they expect that you have mastered the subject. So they expect analysis from you, right?
Yes,
And if you want to do analysis, that has to be original. That won't come from someone else, right? So that can be through diagrams, that can be without diagrams. That can be in numbers, that can be in paras. So whatever your aptitude naturally reflects, that has to be kept in mind. However, it has to be comprehensive, not very vague. That are the things which you learn in answer writing, right?
yes,
Yeah, so
So
yes, I
I
think
would
the
suggest
key,
originality is
yes,
good.
yeah, originality. I mean, with the key demand, addressing the key demand of the question, I think is the takeaway from this answer. So yes, thank you for your question, Anand. It has been a very good question. I really appreciate it.
sir.
Next is Hema. Hema, please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hi,
Hema.
sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Emma.
Sir, my doubt is, sir, like I have two optionals, sir, like history or political science, sir. Which is best, sir, among those?
No, you are confused between history and
Yes, sir.
political science.
Yes, sir.
Hema, what have you done in your graduation?
HEP, sir. BA HEP.
Sorry?
BA HEP, sir. History, economics, political science.
Okay, you have done graduation all these three subjects.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you're confused between history and
BA.
political science as an
Yes,
option.
sir. Yes, sir.
See, Hema, I would like to say, I'm a third person to these both options, but I have friends who have these options. So I can tell you three things which you can do, which will help you, choose a better subject for you. All right.
Okay, sir.
First thing you can write is you can go on internet. There is a page called as Wiki. I'll send the link to Satendra sir. He'll share you.
Okay, sir.
It is a page by all the toppers of UPSC,
Okay,
and
sir.
they have written their individual strategy for their optionals, and they've mentioned their notes as well online.
Okay,
Right.
sir.
For 2019 batch, it is there. 2020, I think so it is also there. So it is some wiki page. I'm not sure. Wiki IS or something like that.
Okay, sir.
CSE wiki, right? CSE wiki.
Okay.
So how it will help you is people who have chosen sociology optional and political science optional, they have written their strategy.
Okay,
The
sir.
timeline it has taken to finish that course, and the timeline takes usually to revise these course, and the relevance of the same course in the GS paper. Again, as I said, since
Okay.
you are taking an optional which is from your traditional background, means you have studied already them in your graduation,
Yes,
so
sir.
it won't be very difficult for you to read it again.
Yes.
However, you need to work very smartly. That you need to see that which paper is giving you the most benefit in writing answers. History can
Okay, sir.
benefit you in paper 1, right? A good
Yes,
knowledge
yes.
of history will help you in ethics paper
Okay.
and in essay as well. Similarly, political science has benefits across different papers, right?
Okay, sir.
And so you need to firstly see that thing. Secondly, you need to see which paper takes less time to cover for you, because time is very crucial thing right now.
Yes,
You
sir.
have only 95 days. So if you can revise 100 pages of history in 10 minutes, 10 hours, and you can revise only 50 pages of political science in 10 hours, covering only
Okay, sir.
10% syllabus, then I think so history is good, right?
Okay, sir.
So you need to know your knowledge and then analyze. For example, I can finish entire history in 1 month, but political science will take 1.5 months.
Okay, sir.
So despite being a short syllabus, it can be tough for you, right?
Okay, sir.
And for that, the third thing, which is the most important, which I'm going to tell you now, is you need to analyze previous year's question papers of both the subjects.
Okay, sir.
Just go on the internet, see the paper, see how dynamic the paper has become over the years.
Okay, sir.
As the traditional pattern changed, if you will download 5-year paper, you will see that history papers are, if they are continuously similar, or there is too much dynamism, and similarly for political science.
Okay,
If
sir.
it is getting too much dynamic, then I think so there's some risk factor over there. So you can avoid that and go with the other option.
Okay, sir. Sir, one more
Yes,
doubt, sir. Like, should sir, if so, they both are covers like main syllabus, right, sir? So should I make notes separate, like for mains and optional, or both?
Yes. See, what you can do is you can go for a GS syllabus, and in that, when you make notes, you can write uh, GS. For example, you have a note on parliament, right? In
Yes.
political science, this will be covered. So
Yes,
when
sir.
you make a file, you put a page. You
Hmm.
put a page there and write parliament
Okay, sir.
covered in political science.
Okay, sir.
File number 22, for example, if you have a political science file number 22,
Okay, sir.
section A.
Okay, sir.
However, your GS notes will not cover your optional notes. Okay.
Yes.
Optional has a different, as I said to someone who I was talking to earlier, you need more in-depth analysis in your answers in GS. In optional. In GS, you can just cover up major portions, but in optional, you'll have to make a thorough note. So obviously, your GS portion, I think, will be covered. You don't need to make double. You don't have to do double work for that.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
thank you so much for the question, Hema. I think Prabhat, the website you're talking about is Demystify CSE, right? It has been the initiative of 2019 toppers.
Yes.
Demystify CSE.
No.
Yeah, it was that website, right?
Yes, that is one of the thing, and I'm not sure. I'll just check and I'll tell you.
Yeah, you just send me. I'll let them there. So here we take the next question. You can share it with me, and I'll put that website in the chat box later on. So next here we have is Navdeep. Navdeep, please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hello.
Hello, hi.
Yes, Navdeep.
गुड आफ्टरनून सर जैसे बहुत सारे जैसे टॉपर्स की स्ट्रेटजीज रहती है यूट्यूब पे, तो उसमें ये बोलते हैं कि प्रीलिम्स के लिए और मेंस के लिए दोनों के लिए ही कि कम से कम 2 अलग अलग इंस्टीट्यूट की टेस्ट सीरीज लगानी चाहिए, तो मतलब अच्छे से प्रिपेयर कर सकते हैं। जैसे कि जो मुझे पता चला है उसके हिसाब से प्रीलिम्स के लिए बोलते हैं कि विजन और इनसाइट्स की काफी अच्छी है, और मेंस के लिए बोलते हैं कि फॉर्म और विजन की अगर लगा लेते हैं तो काफी बढ़िया रहता है। ऐसे सर फिर ऑप्शनल में हो जाता है कि अगर आंसर राइटिंग इंप्रूव करनी है तो टेस्ट सीरीज जरूरी है, टेस्ट लगाना जरूरी है। पर सर जैसे ये इतने सारे हो जाते हैं तो इसको सर मैनेज कैसे करेंगे? जैसे मेरा आज टेस्ट है जीएस में एथिक्स का, और अगर पीटी में देखूं तो मेरा 2 दिन बाद टेस्ट है फिर ज्योग्राफी का, और उसमें मेरा 10 दिन बाद फिर वेस्टर्न पॉलिटिकल थॉट का टेस्ट है पॉलिटिकल साइंस में। तो इस सब को सर मैनेज कैसे मतलब कर सकते हैं? वरना सर ऐसे कुछ ना कुछ
सीरीज लेने, देखिए बहुत सिंपल है, बहुत सिंपल सॉल्यूशन है, बहुत सिंपल, वेरी सिंपल सॉल्यूशन। इफ यू आर if you have too much on your plate, very simple solution. Now is it good with English because everyone will understand?
Yes sir.
See, now when you have too much on your plate, it's always good to look at the menu first, then put things on your plate. Getting my point? अगर आप शादी में जाते हैं, आपने अगर एक बार पूरे जहाँ पे खाना लगा है उसका आप पूरा राउंड ले लेंगे ना, तो आपको पता चल जाएगा आपको कहाँ खाना है, क्या क्या खाना है, कैसे खाना है। बट अगर आप प्लेट उठा के खाना खाना शुरू करेंगे, स्टार्टिंग में पेट भर गया, अब मेन जो अच्छा खाना था वो एंड में था, आप खा ही नहीं पाओगे, है ना? तो यही स्ट्रैटेजी सिविल्स की है। जब आप एक सिंपल टेस्ट सीरीज लगाने जाते हैं तो वो आपको एक टेस्ट सीरीज का एक मॉड्यूल देते हैं। यू सी दैट यू हैव अ मॉड्यूल, राइट, इन विच दे विल मेंशन कि दिस डेट को ये टेस्ट होगा, दिस डेट को ये टेस्ट होगा। जब आपने टेस्ट सीरीज लगाई तीनों, आपने बताया प्रीलिम्स किया था, एक मेंस का है आपको और एक ऑप्शनल का है ना?
यस सर।
तो आपने जब ये लिया तो आपने क्या अपने ईयरली प्लानर में मार्क किया था कि ये दिन को ये टेस्ट होंगे?
सर एक्सेल शीट थी एक, उसमें
आपने लिखा था स्टार्टिंग में?
सर मतलब पूरा तो नहीं लिखा था, मगर हाँ जैसे 3-4 मंथ्स का लिखा था।
नहीं, यही तो क्लैश हो जाता है ना फिर एंड में। और वो 3-4 मंथ्स तो आपने प्रीलिम्स के पहले का लिखा, अब आपके प्रीलिम्स के टाइम पे क्लैश होगा, तो फिर कैसे करोगे? So this is what is got meticulous planning. Meticulous planning is starts from getting up in the morning till you clear a name in the list. So when you take a test series, when you go for a test series, the coaching institutes will spend 10 rupees for you and they'll give you a printout in which they have mentioned categorically what are the tests, when the test will be happen. For example, I remember Civil Delhi mein you have smash program for mains, right? In which they already mentioned this. And then Samachar Manthan hai, so weekly test hai. So it is already cleared na over here. So when you make a plan, you need to accommodate these things initially. All right. So now coming to your particular question, Deepak, right?
Navdeep.
So Navdeep, what will happen na कि अब जब प्लेट में ले लिया तो खाना तो है ही. So what you can do is you can prioritize. ठीक है. Now you have to prioritize. अब जैसे आप बता रहे हैं कि आपका जीएस, प्रीलिम्स और मेंस का टेस्ट है, ठीक है. यू आर टेकिंग द 2023 अटेम्प्ट, राइट?
यस सर.
हाँ. सो नाउ प्रीलिम्स कैन वेट, ऑब्वियसली, है ना?
जी सर.
है ना? नाउ प्रीलिम्स कैन ऑब्वियसली वेट क्योंकि 2023 में देना है. बट प्रीलिम्स को हम साइडलाइन भी नहीं कर सकते, तो हम प्रीलिम्स का टेस्ट मंथली या बाई वीकली ले सकते हैं. बट जीएस को, मेंस को, अगर जीएस मेंस है, आपने बोला एथिक्स है, तो एथिक्स इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट, दैट हैज टू बी रिटन. और आपका पॉल साइंस अगर टेस्ट है 15 दिन बाद, अगर वो क्लैश कर रहा है, सो आई थिंक दीज बोथ कैन बी मैनेज्ड, बिकॉज व्हेन यू विल बी प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर प्रीलिम्स एंड मेंस, बिटवीन प्रीलिम्स एंड मेंस you will be studying 2 subjects in a day. You will be studying GS plus your optional in those 90 days. So आपको अपने दिमाग को वैसे ट्रेन करना है कि सुबह 2 घंटे करंट अफेयर पढ़ के, 4 घंटे जीएस पढ़ के और 4 घंटे मैं ऑप्शनल भी पढ़ पाऊं और एक टेस्ट भी लिख पाऊं. समझ रहे हैं? बट अगर आप सोचेंगे कि हाँ प्रीलिम्स का टेस्ट देना है, तो प्रीलिम्स के टेस्ट के लिए आपको कोई अलग से पढ़ाई नहीं करनी है. अभी आप जाइए प्रीलिम्स का टेस्ट देके आ जाइए, 2 घंटे एक्सरसाइज समझ लीजिए, जैसे गार्डन में वॉक करने जाते हैं वैसे आप प्रीलिम्स का टेस्ट दे दीजिए. इससे मन से डर भी निकल जाएगा. द फियर विल गो आउट ऑफ योर माइंड दैट यू आर टेकिंग अ टेस्ट. It will become a very casual thing, and that is very good for your preparation. However, when you make a plan, next time put dates when you specifically for test series, because test series are a yearly planner thing. So you need to have a diary like this. See, I have cleared my exam way back, but I have a diary still. I maintain a diary in which I'll mention which dates, what to do. I have 3 diaries still. I have n number of diaries. So see, if you'll open a diary, I'll have more diary. So you need to have plans, right? थोड़ा organized, not diary, phone में करो, Excel sheet में करो, Evernote में करो, जहाँ करना है ना? So this is, since you are already now in a situation, try to prioritize. First is your GS mains, second is your optional, and third is your prelims, according to me. ठीक है? और ये सब में ऐसे को भी बैलेंस करके चलना भाई, है ना?
सर एक चीज और, जैसे मतलब अभी इसमें क्या होता है, कई बार टेस्ट सीरीज में आगे बढ़ाने का ऑप्शन रहता है कि आप थोड़ा, अगर अभी आप नहीं दे सकते तो बाद में दे सकते हो,
बढ़ा सकते हो.
तो सर उसमें ये था कि जैसे मानने की बात है 10 दिन बाद कोई टेस्ट है और वो पॉलिटी का है, उसमें वे कह रहे हैं कि लक्ष्मीकांत के शुरू के 20 चैप्टर आएंगे, मगर मैं अगर 15 चैप्टर पढ़ पाया तो सर वो 5 चैप्टर रह गए, और अगर उसको थोड़ा आगे बढ़ा दे तो फिर वो अगले टेस्ट में क्लैश कर जाता है, और मन में फिर ये आता है कि नहीं
ऐसे, हाँ, वो आगे नहीं बढ़ाना है. हमको 15 दिन पे टेस्ट दे देना है जाके, हमको 15 दिन में जाके टेस्ट दे देना है. वो 5 चैप्टर के क्वेश्चन नहीं आएंगे ना, आंसर, कोई बात नहीं. जब बेइज्जती होगी तो हम पढ़ाई करेंगे, पर अगर हम 5 दिन पीछे बढ़ा देंगे तो बेइज्जती भी नहीं होगी, टेस्ट भी नहीं होगा, और एंड में 25 टेस्ट में से आप सिर्फ 5 टेस्ट देके आओगे जो सबका हल होगा. सो टेस्ट देने तो जाना ही है. देयर इज नो एक्सक्यूज टू नॉट गिविंग अ टेस्ट. देयर इज नो एक्सक्यूज. I think no mentor or no teacher will ever say that don't give a test because you're underprepared. You will always be underprepared. After 12 years of my education, इस मेंस से पहले भी एक दिन पहले मैं रो रहा था कि पढ़ाई नहीं हुई. 12 साल मिल चुके पढ़ने के लिए मुझे. So you will always be underprepared. टेस्ट देना है, 5 सब्जेक्ट नहीं है ना, 5 चैप्टर. Come home, read that, finish it, start next day. Okay, but don't miss the test. Deadline चेंज नहीं करनी. Deadline 2 सिचुएशन में चेंज होती है कि you are already prepared but you don't want to take the exam due to some situation, or Secondly, the exam has been cancelled by the coaching institute only. इसके अलावा और कोई सिचुएशन में डेडलाइन मॉक टेस्ट की चेंज नहीं करनी चाहिए.
सर एक चीज और, जैसे ये हम टेस्ट देते हैं तो उसमें सॉल्यूशंस रहते हैं कि कुछ क्वेश्चंस ऐसे होते हैं जो हमें नहीं पता होते या जिनका हमने गलत मार्क कर दिया, या फिर अगर हमने ऐसे ही गैस भी किया तो वो हमारा सही हो गया, तो उनको हमें रिवाइज करना रहेगा. तो सर उनको कितनी बार रिवाइज करना चाहिए? और जैसे आप करते थे
टेस्ट पेपर को, अगर प्रीलिम्स का टेस्ट पेपर है तो उसको एग्जाम से पहले एक बार तो देखना ही चाहिए, और मेंस का तो हम करते हैं रिवाइज 2-3 बार करते हैं.
तो सर फिर मतलब किस तरीके से अरेंज कर सकते हैं? ऐसे ही मतलब डायरी में नोट करके?
व्हेन यू विल मेक अ प्लान यू हैव टू मेक अ टेस्ट रिवीजन स्ट्रेटजी. आखिरी के 20 दिन में जितने भी आप टेस्ट दो उसको तो यू हैव टू रिवाइज. फॉर एग्जांपल यू हैव गिवन अ टेस्ट इन जनवरी, that test has to be revised by March. For example, you have to keep that when you make a test plan for 100 days na.
Yes,
so
sir.
if you are solving 35-40 tests, so उतने ही टेस्ट लो जितने रिवाइज कर सकते हो. Full length test is a different thing, but if you are taking 40 tests, at least 40 tests have to be revised. So उसको अपना प्लानर में बना लेना कि लास्ट के 10 days में डेली 2 टेस्ट रिवाइज करूंगा, तो मेरे को 20 दिन चाहिए सिर्फ टेस्ट रिवाइज करने के लिए.
Yes. Thank you for your questions, Navdeep. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Thank you, sir.
So if you have any more questions, you can just write down on the chat box.
Okay, sir.
See,
Thank you,
guys,
sir.
we have 5-4 minutes left now, so I'll be taking 1 or 2 quick questions more. Other than that, those who couldn't get your questions, just write into the chat box. Our team or me will reach out to you. So next is Eva Kaushik. Eva, can you please unmute yourself and ask
Yes,
the question?
sir. Yes, I'm here. A
Yes,
very
ma'am.
warm afternoon, Prabhat sir. And my major concern is only that how we can cover up the current affairs instead of going with the newspapers.
See, I'm not a person who would say that don't go with newspaper, because I did my current affairs only through newspapers, and
Yes, sir.
current affairs I very occasionally read. But there are people who have cleared with good rank doing current affairs. So you can I think so you can do 2 things. Is I have a habit to read newspaper in the morning. You can make a habit that whatever coaching material you refer to, that is the first thing which you read in the morning. Current affairs. Because what will happen, current affairs, if you do not read, it will become the most neglected part in your syllabus preparation portion, right? Because you will do GS, you will do optional, but current affairs will get neglected and it will become a pile. And once it becomes a pile, you won't be able to read. So you need to have 2 hours for current affairs. This can include one All India Radio, audio podcast, or a Rajya Sabha TV audio. Secondly, any coaching material which you read, 5 minutes, 1 page. So if you read in an hour, you'll read 12 pages. So any material if you read does not have more than 120 pages, right? So you are finishing that in 10 days.
Yes, sir.
So after 10 days, you can have a revision of the previous month, not this month, of the previous month.
Okay.
For example, if you are reading January edition and it comes on 10th, so you start reading on 10th, you read till 25th, your current affair of December, right? So 25th December to 30th December, you can revise current affair of 25th to 30, you can revise current affair of December in January only. Getting a point?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So that way you can revise.
Yes, last question before we close the session. Nikita Dhama. Nikita, can you please unmute yourself and ask the question?
We can,
Okay,
if it is okay, we can extend 10 minutes. I don't mind.
Yes.
I do
Okay,
have
okay.
a doubt, if you don't mind answering it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sir, I was just going through the application of civils daily, and I just found that it is having all the PIB, Kurukshetra, all the things within a single code. So is it a possibility that I go through the daily current affairs from the application?
I did that.
Okay.
Not to mind. They have a good section in which they'll explain the entire editorial.
True.
If you see Civil's daily editorial, I got it through, I'll tell you, Anudeep Durishetty. I still remember. He categorically mentioned that he was following. Until then, I did not know about Civil's daily, to be honest. And he mentioned Civil's daily ka editorial portion. So I still have Civil's daily, and you'll still have a notification in my phone application of Civil's daily. Something is always there on their app. I don't know how much articles they publish every day, but every time you'll have a Civil's daily icon in my notification. It is there. So no, that is very good. And you can, best part is you can attach it to Evernote as well. So I did it to Evernote. So that is a good way.
Yeah, I was thinking that just going to the application and making the precise notes on Evernote and just going through the compilation of Visual IES, the monthly compilation in the end. So is it a good thing? Like
it is a good thing if you are able. It is a good thing only when you revise it at least once or two or three. Have a two at least 3 revisions before prelims and mains, whatever source you are reading. I don't want you to read multiple sources. Whatever you are reading, at least revise it 3 times before prelims. Okay, so that is the main.
I hope yes. I hope your question has been answered, Eva. If you have any more doubt, please put it into the chat box.
Hello,
Yes, Gautam.
am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Gautam, you're audible.
Sir, I am in college right now. I've been having trouble with the notes making of current affairs in English. Where should I start from?
No, I did not get your question.
Sir, I am preparing for 2024 CSE and I am having trouble with the current affairs. So what resources should I follow for current affairs?
If you're preparing for 2024, I think so. You should start only. You should be reading current affairs right now. Newspaper thoroughly and make it a habit. You can go with the good magazines such as EPW, Yojana, and Down to Earth. If you have a sufficient amount of time. So I think so. Rather just sticking to syllabus, you can go with these 3-4 sources. You can follow PIB. That is very good. But not much.
Now is newspapers plus NCRTs. Because I'm totally, but I'm a little bit confused that how should I make the notes from current affairs? Should I make the notes from NCRT also? Because I'm.
No, you make the notes for NCRT. Don't make the notes for current affairs right now because 2024, your current affairs.
When should I start note making for current affairs?
You can start by December recently. December 1.5 years.
This year.
Yes.
And sir, for PSI optional.
Yes,
sir. For PSI optional, what resources should I refer to?
Which books you should refer to?
Yes, sir.
I'm really sorry.
I have already chosen.
I'm really sorry. I don't have the book list for PSI. I'm really sorry. I can help you.
Yes. Yes, Prabhat. If you allow me to address this.
Yes.
Yes, Gautam, you can write this question in our chat box. There are many mentors who belongs to PSI optional. Okay, I hope you understand. Just unmute yourself now. I think Pooja is there. Pooja, can you unmute yourself and ask the question? Pooja, आप unmute कीजिए अपने आप को और अपना सवाल पूछिए. Okay. Before that, we will be after that. Let's move on to the next question. Prabhat, this should be the last question, or you can take.
No, I'm okay. I can take question.
Okay. So Pritam Nayak, Pritam, can you please unmute yourself and ask the question?
So, sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, Pritam.
Sir, I had a query regarding the answer writing part. I was checking some of the toppers' answers, and one observation which I could make out was that most of the points are basics, like basic generic points in GS. Let it be social justice or society. Nothing is like too much of expert analysis or something like that. Most of the points are generic. There are some points, statistics maybe, that maybe GDP is this much, or literacy rate is this much, or hunger rate is this much. So is this observation that I have made, and that is it right? I just want to cross verify.
What will happen now? What's your name? Pritam, right?
Yes, sir.
Pritam, have you taken the mains anytime soon?
Sir, I am writing this year's. I gave prelims last year. I am writing this year's prelims also next month.
Pritam, what will happen in 90 days? Your struggle is to write that basic, at least that basic knowledge in the answer. Forget about the specialty.
Yes,
so,
sir.
And UPSC is looking for consistency along with specialization. See, they also know that it's a very huge and vast syllabus they've created for GS, right? Yes, and if you see, the average scoring of GS is 900 marks, and out of that, the highest gets its 450. Highest, that is very extraordinary. Yes, and 400 are the marks. So, as you said, they write basic, so they get basic mark only. So they are not accorded very extraordinary marks.
Yes, because in 7 minutes when I tried to write, I couldn't think of very extraordinary points.
Right.
Finishing the answer itself is a big task in 7 minutes.
But then you have to have that consistency in all that answers. That is the major task.
So finishing
you cannot have a downfall graph. So for example, your initial 5-10 answers are very nice, and then your later answers are very bad. So this will reflect in your answers. The examiner will not give you good marks.
It should be average over the period of 20 questions.
Yeah, this is what defines a topper and a person getting under average marks in GS. And all these answers are consistent. all his answers are structured. All his answers have basic facts which are relevant to the answer, and they have a proper format, the issues, and most importantly, all his answers address the question, demand of the question. Maybe he will have only two suggestions, unlike 5 or 6 suggestions, but he will have at least 2 suggestions for that demand.
Yes, I hope Pritam, your question has been addressed. Prabhat, we have a question of Pooja. She is asking that do we need to learn our notes for optional subjects? Like once you made the notes, do we need to learn our notes for optional subjects? Tells her to please define revision. Is it revisiting the content or learning the content?
See, if you ask me personally, I'm not a rotting person myself, so rot learner. So I would revise means have an overall idea, because if you ask me even today to read and write, I'll write 3 answers even if I write immediately one after another. If you'll ask me to write a note on say pressure group, for example, I'll give you an example, Pooja, right? Pooja, in this year mock, I gave a test in which a pressure group was asked. Same question was asked in examination. I could not even revise the same definition which I wrote in the mains, a test which I had taken only 2 days before. So you cannot learn because the syllabus is too vast. Okay. So learning is not at all possible here. Revision means going through the same syllabus, getting accustomed to the same terminology, same phraseology, same flow chart, same idea, so that when in exam the same question has been asked, you at least try to reflect 50% of that in the examination in that short period of time. Getting a point?
Yes.
For example, if I give you 1 hour to make chicken curry, you'll make a good food, right? But if I give you 30 minutes to make that chicken curry, something will be missing. But however, main ingredient should not be missed, right? You should put the main ingredients which you have in your pocket. So that practice will help you. So this is a different thing you have to do. You have to revise, and the revision in my definition is going through the notes which you make, not revisiting the entire book. Don't do that. That's a blunder. People read, for example, Lakshmikant 5 times before prelims. No. You have to read it 1 time, make a note or highlight it properly. When you revise it, go fast. Don't be very slow. At least do it 3 times. Go faster. Don't be very slow.
Yes, I think that's why we made notes actually, so that not to go back to books again and again. So I hope your question has been addressed, Pooja. I think we have a person named UPSC aspirant. UPSC aspirant, please unmute yourself. First, introduce yourself and then ask the question.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, please introduce yourself.
Myself, Ketu Yadav.
Yes.
Sir, my question is how to write an answer for mains in an optional. When to start the optional answer writing, sir?
When you start taking the first day you start preparing optional, you need to start writing answers. There is no question about GS or optional. There are no different things. Writing answer is like you have to do it when you start. Because you will never be ready, na. So when you write answers, you come out of your comfort zone, right? Yes. When you write answers, you make yourself uncomfortable without less knowledge. You write answers. This will be the same thing in examination. You won't have good time. You won't have much knowledge. You won't be able to revise. Still, you will have to write an answer. So if you are writing answer from day 1, it is good. People think that मैं 2 महीने optional पढ़ूंगा, I'll read 2 optional for 2 months, then I will start taking test. No. Yes. You need to write at least 1 answer every day of the subject you are reading. At least one.
Yes, sir.
Sir, but when I'm writing the answer, but I write in crisp way.
So no issues. If you no. See, there are 2 things. Either you are making a flow chart or either you are writing an answer. Flow chart is very different from answer. Flow chart is very comfortable because you are just applying your brain and the summary is made in 1.5 minutes. But when you actually write an answer in 6 to 7 minutes, you use vocabulary, you use a proper format, and you need to write facts in that answer. For example, you have an initiative, right? So the daily to answer writing draw.
Yes, we have multiple the daily answer writing initiative. We have daily answer writing advancement program is there. Simultaneously, programs like UAP or Foundation. Along with that, Samachar Manthan, we have weekly.
Yes, Samachar Manthan is one I've been through.
Yes. So we from the day one we emphasize on that we need to answer writing.
Answer
We cannot
writing is like,
segregate.
yeah. So if you want to be a good batsman, you need to go in the net from day one. You cannot learn on theory, right? If Yorker is there in full toss, I will hit like that. You go in the net and you practice. Same as in UPSC answer writing is that bat in your hand.
Yes,
If you do not write answers, you won't perform in the match.
Yes, I
but
hope
then
your
how
answer,
can I
your
cope with
question.
Sorry?
See, there are other aspirants also who are waiting their questions to be addressed. You can write your question in the chat box. If is it okay for you, Prabhat?
Yeah.
Let's address the question of Subramanya Bharti. Subramanya, can you please unmute yourself and ask the question?
Sir, Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind, sir.
Sir, I'm first year of my graduation, sir. And what my question is that, sir, I'm a college student, and as such, I couldn't stick to the plan, because you have mentioned meticulous planning is very important. But sir, because of internal exams, assignments, I couldn't stick to the plan, sir. How can I manage it?
Firstly, your name is Subramaniam Bharti, right?
Yes, sir.
Brother, firstly, you need to enjoy your college. I would like to say that. I'm not saying that just drift away with your college. Good, it is good, great that you're preparing with college. But then, if you mention that meticulous does not mean the overburdened planning. Getting a point. Meticulous means it takes into consideration the other situations in your surrounding as well. So when you make a plan next time, make a realistic plan that you are into college. You will have college festivals. You will have college, tours. You will have friends. You will have some outings. So you will have to go home in the festival, right? So when you dedicate those things, make a plan accordingly. For example, since I am a full-time aspirant, I will be studying, say, 30 days. So out of that 4 Sundays, so I'll be studying 25 days in a month. So you will be studying only 15 days a month. Right, 15 to 20 days. So rather than getting into something very aspirational and making a plan that I'll cover these many things, don't do that. For initially get into that habit of becoming an aspirant. That is, try reading newspapers daily, watching news daily, and most importantly, getting good grades in graduation. People become very short-sighted, and they firstly they miss what they are doing right now for UPSC. Don't do that. Your marks in your graduation will reflect in your interview as well, and they'll ask this. However, this does not matter. They won't mind you passing at 45 or 50%. But why lose something which you already have in your hand for something which you might get in future? So passing with good grade, this might happen that, for example, you are a civil engineer graduate. You might take civil engineering as your optional, right? Without any coaching. So do your graduation thoroughly, read newspaper, go and get into some foundation program in some classes. For example, we have Swatandra, you have, right? Yeah,
yes,
foundation classes. Take weekly planners. They are not overburdened. They are very crisp modules in which momentum is there, so that you keep yourself in momentum. You don't drift away. However, you don't make over realistic programs.
Yes. Okay, Prabhat. So thank you for that question, Subramanya. Prabhat, let's take the last question for the session. It is from Nikita Dama. She is trying for a long time.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Her question is, sir, I am confused between 3 subjects. That is geography, public administration, and sociology. Though I am more inclined and have interest in geography, due to short syllabus, I have interest on other 2 subjects. So how to choose between them?
And what is her graduation? What is her graduation in? What does
she didn't mention that she has inclination and interest in geography. So we can assume she graduated in geography itself. Otherwise, okay. And so she is attracted towards public administration and sociology because of a small short syllabus. And second question is also attached to it. After choosing, what should be the right strategy to begin? Should one join with the coaching, or if not, have a background in it? How one should start?
I would personally say that, geography, PSI, and sociology, there's not too much of difference in the syllabus which I have seen, right? There might be a difference in syllabus, but geography also has a good crisp syllabus, and it is an encashing optional if you're good in it. I've seen people clearing civils in hundreds with geography optional altogether. There used to be a geography gang in civil services. So it is even the case today. Good number of almost around 1,200 people take geography as an option. However, as you mentioned, PABAD and sociology have short syllabus, but then again you'll have to prepare it again over and over again, because you are not accustomed to the syllabus and you don't have a background for it also, and it might get disinteresting for you. Now, if it gets disinteresting, then you'll finish the syllabus instead of 30 days in 40 days. So it's a moot point, right? Because you have taken syllabus so that you can revise it in a short period of time. And since you're not disinterested, you're ultimately spending 10 days extra on revising that subject. So I'll rather go with the subject in which you are interested and you'll finish in 40 days only. At least you know that subject, right? It's like staying with a boy or a girl which you know has some bad habits, rather than staying with a completely stranger and taking a risk whether he will be good or not, just knowing that he earns good. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता ना. So you need to see, since you mentioned that you have interest in geography, I would personally in your place go with geography, because if I have interest, I can make the syllabus short, I can revise that syllabus very fast, and I'll finish it throughout very quickly, rather than going for an entire new subject in which I have not interest, and just because it is short, I think so. I would not be able to reflect originality, uniqueness in my answers and analysis in my answers in those subjects which I can do in geography.
Yes. Nick, this is to address Nikita. Nikita, you're asking me to let you in. Actually, we already tried to let you in. I think there's some technical error on your side. So, anyways, you can write your questions in the chat box. Our team will address those definitely. Guys, this is it. This is the session that we actually are trying for with Prabhat. So, before ending that session, this is my question with Prabhat, and this is the last question that I want you to address. Instead of addressing, I would just want you to share the experience. Was it worth it?
It is definitely worth it. It is actually, people, often think that should I put in that many hours, and what is the package, and what are the differences in the salary. I also had this overthought, because I left a job in which in 2011 I had a package of 16 lakh plus car, so it was a CTC of 22 lakh in 2011.
Yeah.
So tonight it might be around 80-90 lakh, and today I'm joining at 11 lakh again. But this does not matter. It is worth it. Even in IRPS profile, which is not the IS profile, I have the responsibility to take welfare of 12,50,000 employees of Indian Railways. If I go into a division, there are at least 50,000 people. Now you just tell me, if I get into Delhi division, it has 45,000 employees. Which corporate will help me to take welfare steps for 45,000 employees? No, you cannot do that. And people are doing that. The smallest division has 8,000 employees in India. Smallest division has 8,000 employees, in which you address the health, the education, their salary, their retirement, their marriage, if someone dies in the family, you give them alternative job, compassionate grade job, you give them PF. There are many things to do, and when you do it, you actually feel it is worth it. It is worth it. See, you will get the house and everything. People put it on YouTube. That is not the real thing which you learn. When the respect which you give, even if today you stand somewhere earning crore, and if an IPS or IRS or IRPS officer stands there earning nothing, but just the goodwill that works, the respect which you'll earn, it is too much. And even being in probation, I'm getting so much respect. I just wonder, if I could do some good work, what can I do? This is definitely worth it.
Those small pauses in your answers when you choosing your words carefully, I totally get it. It's worth it. Otherwise, those small pauses couldn't come in so easily. Well, thank you so much, Prabhat, for joining us. Radhika is there.
We'll take a question.
Radhika, this is okay. You interrupted.
Sir, how to make notes for optional and how to consolidate them?
See, what is optional, Radhika?
Sir, PSIR.
See, optional making has to be done like an art. You need to have two different notes. For me, as I have done is, one is a note which, apart from your standard book, which has been summarized, right? This can be a little exhaustive, but not too very long. मतलब book नहीं होना चाहिए. It should not be a reflection of your book only. For example, in book it is 12 pages and you are making a note of 8 pages. It is of no use. So if an article has been mentioned in 12 pages, try to note it down in 2 to 3 pages. Okay. That is the first note making you do in your first round when you read your portion, when you read your syllabus thoroughly. Then when you go for the next reading, next revision, say probably 2 or 3 months later, then you make a shorter note of these 2-3 pages. Now you can revise through your textbooks, you can refer them, but your primary source will now be the 2-3 pages notes which you have already made in 3-4 months before. And from these 2-3 pages, you need to make it down, boil it down to half page or 1 page. Half page is best, 1 page is average. So that your entire syllabus of paper 1 is in I would say 30 pages. 30 is too much. 15-20 pages. So entire law, your PSI or optional should be in 50 pages, front and back. So 100 pages. That's more than enough.
Yeah.
So
thank you,
note making
Radhika.
has to be in these 2 ways.
Yeah, thank you, Radhika, for the last question of the session. I was supposed to ask the last question, but thank you for the question. And thank you so much, Prabhat, for joining us. And
Yes, it is.
I sincerely help and thank you for taking time out from your precious time. And thank you so much once again. And my best wishes from the Civils Day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civils Daily.